stared at the wedding invitation beneath the soft glow of my studio lamp. Men and Eric cordially invite you, my younger sister's wedding, apparently the social event of the season, judging by the dozen voicemails from my aunt. Savannah had spent the last 2 years planning it ever since she got engaged to Eric Madsen, heir to Madsen Capital, the largest venture finance group in San Francisco. The irony wasn't lost on me. 13 years ago, Savannah had laughed when I left med school to launch a product nobody understood. Dana's having a quarter-life crisis, she told our parents at brunch. She'll come crawling back, broke and embarrassed, by Christmas. That Christmas never came. Instead, I built Nexora Bioworks from a corner table in a downtown Oakland cafe. Sleepless nights, rejected grant proposals, labs I could barely afford. While Savannah worked her way through PR gigs at Madsen Capital, I was building something real. Printing microfluidic systems by hand, managing clinical trials, and pitching to rooms full of men who thought Dana was short for Daniel. My family? Barely noticed. They were too busy reposting Savannah's engagement photos and gushing about her velvet pumps on social media. "Miss Carter," my assistant called, pulling me back. "The investor briefing's in 10. I nodded and set the invitation aside. Nexora Bioworks was now valued at $1,800,000,000, 0 cents. Of course, no one outside my executive circle knew I owned it. I operated through holding groups and proxy LLCs. To my family, I was still just a lab consultant freelancing in biotech. "Oh," and she added, "Madsen Capital just finalized their $72 million, 0 cents investment request. They need the biomedical array by Q2. Perfect. The array? That was ours. And I was the one who had to approve the transfer. The wedding was Saturday. I almost skipped it, but Mom called, twice. "Your sister is marrying into the Madsens," she gushed. "She is. Please don't make this about you. Try not to embarrass us this time." Saturday arrived. Cool Napa Valley breeze. Morning fog rolling gently off the vineyards. I wore a deep sapphire gown. Custom cut, understated elegance. The label? Unseen. But the message? Unmistakable. "You actually came. And you look decent." Savannah's voice reached me before her perfume did. Behind her, our father was deep in conversation with a Madsen Capital board member, gesturing toward the vineyard with exaggerated pride, no doubt discussing their upcoming biosensor investment round. If only they knew. "Where should I sit?" I asked, glancing at the ornate seating chart displayed near the entrance of the reception tent. "Oh," my mother said vaguely, adjusting her pearl necklace. "We had to reshuffle things last minute. Savannah's guests? Well, you know how many RSVP'd." Oh, I knew. I always knew. To them, I was still the dropout who wasted a future in medicine to tinker with lab gadgets. What they didn't know was that Nexora Bioworks had just quietly acquired 3 of Madsen's key suppliers. And that $72 million 0 cents biosourcer deal they were counting on? Just the appetizer. The ceremony was elegant, cinematic. I'll admit, Savannah looked beautiful. Eric wore smugness like a custom-tailored tux. I sat in the very last row, more observer than guest. At the reception, I scanned the sea of linen cloak tables for my name card. Nothing. "Looking for something?" Savannah asked, her voice dripping honey. She'd changed into a sleek ivory-sheathed dress, clearly made for maximum photo impact. "My seat," I said evenly. "Oh, did anyone tell you?" She replied, lips tight. "We had to keep the main area for VIPs, but the kitchen set up something for you near the server's lounge, very private." Laughter rippled from nearby tables. Then Eric appeared, smug grin in full bloom. "Dana, don't make this a thing. You've always been good at staying quiet." I smiled. 10 years of silence hummed beneath my composure. I pulled out my phone. "Hi, Ben, this is Dana Carter. Cancel the Madsen delivery, effective immediately." Eric's champagne flute slipped and shattered on the floor. Savannah's face paled. "What are you doing?" I didn't answer. I just turned toward the exit. "What contract?" Eric barked. I paused, held up my screen, and showed the Nexora Bioworks logo. "The biosensor deal your firm's banking on?" My company. It dies today. His mouth opened. But Nixora's huge. You're not. Not what? I said coolly. Not a failure? Not invisible? I slid the phone into my clutch. Congrats again on the wedding. I'm sure the kitchen staff saved you a slice of cake. The tented ballroom fell silent. Forks hovered mid-air. Champagne flutes froze in elegant hands. Savannah's smile faltered. Her voice dropped to a venomous whisper. You're bluffing. Nexera Bioworks is owned by Elias Renner, she hissed. Everyone knows that. I kept smiling. Elias Renner is my godfather. He fronted the public face while I built the company in the background. Feel free to call him. Eric's jaw clenched. His face turned an ashen gray. But the biosensor contract. Your dad's entire investor round depends on it, I said evenly. Just like I know Madsen Capital's wearable health rollout tanked. Your Series C investor backed out. And those leveraged loans you've been using to plug the gap? Risky. A voice boomed from behind them. What the hell is going on? Robert Madsen, Eric's father and chairman of Madsen Capital, stormed through the stunned guests, polished shoes tapping sharply against the slate tile. He stopped abruptly when he saw the tension. Eric, why is your wife's sister discussing our most sensitive contract in front of 100 people? I stepped forward, extending my hand with composure. Mr. Madsen, Dana Carter, CEO of Nexera Bioworks. His eyes narrowed. Your LM Strategic Group? The same, I replied, nodding. We've been acquiring your supply chain vendors for 9 months. His face drained of color. Your due diligence team missed a few breadcrumbs, but no hard feelings. The crowd murmured. Champagne was forgotten. At that moment, my mother burst through the circle, face flushed and trembling. Dana, stop this. You're humiliating your sister. I lifted my phone calmly. Would you prefer a breakdown of your son-in-law's debt profile or a scan of the acquisition agreements? I have both. Eric's hand latched around my wrist, too tight. Fix this, he snarled. Whatever game you're playing, undo it. I stared at his grip, then back at his face, calm and unflinching. Fix it? Like when I asked you to invest in me? When I begged for support and you laughed? Get a job, Dana, you said. Stop embarrassing the family. This was different, he snapped. You were being unrealistic. Was I? I swept a hand toward the candlelit ballroom. Tell me, Eric, who paid for all this? Madsen Capital? The company that won't survive another quarter without my tech? Savannah gasped, mascara trailing down her cheeks. Daddy? Is this true? Robert Madsen fumbled with his bow tie, eyes glistening with sweat. Princess, it's complicated. If you've ever been underestimated by the people who were supposed to believe in you, hit that subscribe button. Because in the next part, the truth doesn't just come out, it takes the whole room down with it. Business takes time. We just need. Time won't help, I said quietly, cutting Eric off. Your burn rate is unsustainable. I let the silence stretch. That biosensor contract? It was your last safety net. My father finally stepped forward, his voice cracked with confusion and something dangerously close to regret. Dana. All this time, we thought you were struggling. I was building, I said, cool and steady. An empire, one that now surpasses Madsen Capital and all of its shell companies. I scanned the room. Elegant gowns, tailored suits, now turned to hushed gasps and screens aglow. Guests were already typing Nexera Bioworks into search bars, connecting dots they were never meant to see. The dream wedding was morphing into a live-streamed corporate implosion. Please, Eric whispered, his swagger gone. Dana? Not here. Don't do this. Don't ruin it. For you? I laughed. Sharp, clean, final. You mean the family that edited me out of every holiday photo because I wore Target instead of Tom Ford? The one that called me unstable for leaving med school? My mother stepped in, hand fluttering toward my arm, like she might rewind time with enough maternal grace. "We were concerned, darling. We just wanted a stable life for you." "Stable like Eric?" I said flatly. "The golden son who's been siphoning funds from his own division to pay off private betting debts?" Eric paled. "I own the firm that audits Madsen Capital's accounts," I added. "I know every transfer, every falsified expense, every name on every off-book ledger." Savannah turned to him sharply, the satin of her designer dress slicing the air like a reprimand. "You stole from my father?" Bones were raised now. The collapse was being documented from every angle. The pristine wedding, now a case study in public disgrace. Robert Madsen's face had turned a furious, frightening red. "Security," he barked. "Get her out. Get all of them out." "I wouldn't," I said smoothly, flicking an invisible speck from my sapphire dress. The one my mother sneered at earlier. "Not unless you want every one of your outstanding loans called in tomorrow morning. We control a majority of your debt now. One call, this empire collapses." Security froze. Uncertain. Eyes darted between me and the man they once called boss. The power had shifted. Robert's voice cracked. "What? Do you want?" I tilted my head slightly. "Want?" I smiled. "I already have it. A billion-dollar company. Global influence. And now, the sweet satisfaction of watching the people who doubted me beg." Eric stumbled forward, desperation cracking through his polished facade. "Dana, please, we can work something out." He gestured weakly. "A board seat, equity, full partnership?" I smiled. "Eric, by the end of next week, I'll hold controlling interest in Madsen Capital." He flinched. "You're bluffing. Your father's over-leverage and your personal recklessness made this too easy," I replied. "The biosensor deal was never about collaboration. It was the last handshake before the acquisition." Across the room, Savannah collapsed into a velvet-backed chair, her once flawless wedding gown folding around her like crumpled foil. "This isn't happening," she murmured. "Not today." "You're right," I said calmly, echoing her earlier jab. "The kitchen staff has a lovely setup, perfect for someone newly demoted in the family pecking order." My mother reached out one final time, voice trembling. "Dana, think about what you're doing. We're family." I turned toward her, quietly. "No. You're the people who taught me that success was measured in labels and brunch invites. That love was conditional. And that I wasn't enough." I glanced at Eric. "Oh, and those debts you've been hiding?" "Nexora holds them now. Expect a call." Behind me, the room erupted. Savannah sobbing, Robert shouting, my mother pleading. Outside, my car waited, sleek, black and understated. My driver, Mike, who also ran my personal security, opened the door. "All good, Miss Carter?" I gave the estate one last look. "Perfect. Let's go. We have a company to seal." News of Madsen Capital's debt crisis and Eric's embezzlement broke within 24 hours. Stock plummeted. Investors bolted. Savannah filed for annulment by Thursday. She wouldn't tether herself to a sinking name. Voicemails poured in from my parents. First anger, then panic, then quiet regret. I ignored them. Instead, I did what I always did. I built. Nexora Bioworks absorbed Madsen's key tech patents, cleaned house. Most employees stayed. Executive leadership didn't. Eric's entire department was the first to go. 3 months later, I sat in my corner office overlooking the San Francisco Bay. The new Q3 reports showed a 24% rise. My assistant buzzed in. "Dana, there's someone here. No appointment." "Send them in," I said, not looking up. The scent hit before the voice. Expensive, desperate. My mother stood before me. Older, uncertain, clutching a designer handbag 3 seasons out of date. "The receptionist didn't recognize me," she said, her voice small and uncertain. "I had to show my ID." "It's the new security protocol," I replied, meeting her eyes. "We've had unexpected visitors since the acquisition." She didn't have the energy to argue. She sat down without asking, clutching her outdated designer handbag like it could shield her from reality. "Your father and I, we've been talking. she began, voice shaking. About how we treated you, about what we missed. And? I asked, my voice flat. We were wrong, she whispered. So terribly wrong. We thought success looked like Eric, polished, curated, comfortable. Not grit. Not solitude. But what you've built, Dana? We see it now. I leaned back in my chair, letting the silence stretch. So did you come to apologize, or because the country club dues are due and you need a favor? She flinched. We deserved that. But Dana, you're still our daughter. Surely that means something. It meant nothing when I needed you, I said softly. Why should it matter now? Tears welled in her eyes. Because we've changed. We're proud of you, even if we don't deserve to be. I stood, looking out at the sweeping skyline of San Francisco. Pride is easy now. But would you have been proud of me back when I was sleeping under my desk, coding between shifts at the lab, eating ramen 4 nights a week? She paused. No, she admitted quietly. And that shame is ours. I turned back to her. Eric called again. She blinked. He wants a job. I told him what he told me 13 years ago. I smiled slightly. Get a real job, earn real experience, stop relying on family. She nodded, defeated. He's staying in my guest room now. Savannah and the Madsens cut all ties. The mighty fall hard, I said, folding my hands. How does it feel, Mother, to be on the other side of the judgment you once thrived on? She lowered her gaze. It's humbling, terrifying, but educational. I pressed the intercom. Clara, can you bring the package for Mrs. Carter? A moment later, Clara entered and placed a thick envelope on the desk. I handed it to my mother. What is this? She asked, fingers trembling. A clean slate, I said. Resources from Nexora's Small Business Initiative, lease support, mentors. If you want to build something real, this is how. She looked down at the papers, then slowly, back up at me. You'd help us? She asked, voice cracking. After everything? I'm not helping, I said gently. I'm offering a chance. One chance. No shortcuts. No Carter name to open doors. I held her gaze. You earn it, like I did, on merit. She stood, clutching the packet like it might fall apart in her hands. Thank you, Dana, for the opportunity and the clarity. As she reached the door, I spoke once more. And one more thing. She turned. The kitchen seat at Savannah's wedding? I said, a smile touching my lips. Turns out it was the best view in the house, down there. You see people for who they really are. Her eyes softened, the weight of years settling in. She nodded, this time with understanding. Then she left, quietly, without ceremony. I turned back to my desk. Nexora BioWorks was expanding into AI-integrated biotech, and I had partnerships to close. Because sometimes revenge isn't loud. It's not fireworks or press releases. It's being seen, truly seen. Sometimes success isn't about proving others wrong. It's about proving yourself right. Nexora became a global leader in ethical innovation. Eric? Last I heard, he was a junior analyst at a mid-tier firm. Learning what real accountability looked like. My parents? They opened a small artisan shop in Sausalito, funded by one of our local microloans. It wasn't flashy, but it was real. Honest. As for me, I kept that old folding table from my early days in my office, the one from my garage where it all began. Because greatness doesn't start on marble boardroom tables. It starts where no one's watching. If you've made it this far, thank you. Not just for watching, but for seeing me. For years, I was invisible, even in my own family. But I kept building, kept believing, quietly. If my story resonates, drop a comment below. Tell me about your kitchen table start, your silent wins. If you've ever been told you're not enough, this is your reminder. They were wrong. Like this if you've ever worked twice as hard just to be heard. Subscribe if you know real success doesn't need applause, it just needs truth. And share this with someone who's still building, because they deserve to know one day the people who overlooked you will fight for a seat at the table you built from scratch. And that kitchen table, that's not where dreams end, it's where empires begin.